And while it was warming up, went in the house, and he called us right whenever we were going to stop to eat at Applebee's. It's right when we pulled in to eat at Applebee's, right, for my birthday. And that's whenever I got a call from my dad, because he locked himself out of his running car. So I ran up. We didn't eat Applebee's. We just said, well, instead of wasting all the time while his vehicle's sitting there running, we scrapped Applebee's, and we just went, and it took me about 5 minutes to get into his SUV, and it had a weird trim piece on the top too that was tricky. It's a Subaru. And then so I think it's funny that just happened the other day, and he doesn't know how it locked. He has no idea how it locked while it was running. You know, it was warming up. I thought that they couldn't do that. Like, if it's running, you have to be inside it to lock it. I didn't think you could lock it from the outside or with the fob whenever it's running. The Subaru. Mine, you couldn't. I couldn't possibly lock my keys in my car unless it was off. You know what I mean? So then my daughter, she always leaves her keys in her car, or she did. Whenever she was, you know, she's at her boyfriend's house, she didn't think she had anything to worry about. But it happens to be in that gated community that I was talking about, where I think they use a lot of this gated community for witness protection. The federal government uses it, you know, for witness protection program. That's the rumor. Obviously, that you're not going to be able to find any documentation on that, but it's almost like it's well known. It's a well-known fact that they do that. It's a gated community, so they're protected, right? And a bunch of my gang stalkers happen to have stickers on the back of their vehicle that indicated that they live out here at Glendale year-round, right? And once I mentioned that out loud, then I didn't see those vehicles anymore. Not at all. So there's a pattern, you know, it just disappeared. Just stopped. I stopped seeing those. So I mentioned that the other day, like last week, I told a story about this place here, and wouldn't you know, my daughter gets her keys locked in her vehicle late at night, whenever, they spend like an hour trying to get into it last night. It was real cold out, and I told her, I said, I'll just come and get in 5 minutes. It'll take me in the morning, and I'll get right in for you. So we came out, and it took me probably about 2 minutes, to be honest. Same thing with my dad's car. When we got back, I didn't get to go to Applebee's, and it was really cold out whenever it happened. Both times it was really cold out. But I got his vehicle unlocked in about 5 minutes, if that. So it's nice to be needed. See, my kids are old enough. Like, there's not. I look for shit to try to be more involved, in my kids' lives, right? But they're fucking 15 and 19. Come on. They don't want to hang out with dad. They don't want to do anything with dad. Dad's lame, right? I'm not the cool dad that wants to, the cool dad that wants to give my kids alcohol and let them smoke weed and shit. No. That's a bunch of these other parents that are hypocrites, are fucking hypocrites. They try to say I'm a bad parent. But regardless, I'm not judging anybody. It's just nice to be that guy, right? Everybody has a guy that they call whenever they have a problem like that, right? I know a guy, anytime somebody locks their keys in their car, they call that guy, that one guy that can always get it out, get it unlocked, They can always count on that guy to fix something that breaks, you know what I mean? So I'm that guy for a lot of people. Like a lot of people. So it is nice to be reminded that that you are needed, and world would still go on, you know, if you weren't here, if they were successful in the slow killing you. But I'd like to think that that people do rely on me. I try to teach my kids not to rely on anybody, because that's how you get fucked over, right? If you can be self-reliant and not rely on anybody for anything at all, then nobody can hurt you, right? But it's as soon as you put your faith in somebody and you rely on them and you are dependent on that person, right, to come through or to do something for your everyday regular needs or whatever, and then they get mad one time or whatever, it always happens, right, is you end up getting fucked over, right? You end up learning a tough lesson. You learn not to rely on people for shit like that, you know? You just learn to be self-reliant. You don't ever, and that's how I've always been, right? I can't bring myself to ask for help if I can do it myself. You know? Even if somebody else is an expert and I don't know how to do it, right? But I know that I can learn how to do it, I'm not going to ask for help. I'm going to learn how to do it and do it myself. Right? I've always been that way. I've always I rise up to the challenge, so to speak. If there's something I've never done before, but I saw somebody else do it that's not an expert, then I know I can do it. You know, I can do anything you can do better, anything you can do better than me, or however it goes. No, you can't. Yes, I can. No, you can't. Yes, I can. But anybody can do this too. It comes down to will, your willpower, mind over matter. It all comes down to the power of your mind. That's it. Like the physical part of basic training, they'll even straight up admit this. The drill sergeants and the instructors, the trainers and shit, they will tell you that it is, the physical part of it is like nothing, right? They'll tell you how they'll see the toughest people come in there, and they're the ones that are going to break. They're the ones that are going to break down and give up when the weakest, fattest or whatever, quietest person, they're going to be the ones that end up surprising you and won't ever give up and end up excelling and end up, they end up as with the most improvement out of anybody during like an 8-9 week cycle in basic training. It used to be 15 weeks, but it's the pussification of America, so, the Army thought, well, we can just cut 5 or 6 weeks off our training. Our soldiers don't need that extra training. So it's literally pussified now. The drill sergeants aren't allowed to touch you. They're not even allowed to insult you that bad. I get it was ridiculous. Whenever I was in there, they were talking about that. Like, they would insult you, because that's their job. They're supposed to insult you. But then they have to give you an opportunity. They have to make sure that they have to check with each soldier pretty much in a different way, a different method, to see if they're not, as long as they understand they're not being abused, emotionally abused. It's so ridiculous. So, and they would voice their discontent at the newer crackdowns on the drill sergeants, what they're allowed to do, what they're not allowed to do. They used to be able to put their hands on you, rough you up a little bit. You're a fucking soldier for the United States Army. Why shouldn't the drill sergeants be able to fucking put their hands on you? I mean, you're gonna fight for your country. You should you should be able to take a little fucking roughing around from a drill sergeant. You literally have to get trained in hand-to-hand combat. So what the fuck is the big deal? But yeah, it's the pussification of America. So the point I was trying to get across, I don't remember. Being self-reliant. Not relying on anybody. if you are a targeted individual, you're being gang stalked or whatever, somebody's doing community stalking, community harassment, workplace harassment, a group of people stalking, harassment by proxy, whatever you want to call it, then you got your work cut out for you. You have to make a list of all the things that you rely on somebody else, right? Just make a list of all the things that you rely on someone else to come through for your everyday needs, If it's get money for anything, if it's food, if it's, somebody to watch your kids or somebody to, you have to try to make a list of all those things and then just just expect that these people are all going to let you down, okay? Just plan on it. And then you'll never be surprised, you won't be let down. Because if you just, don't set your expectations very high of people and you'll never be disappointed, right? And hey, if people they come through for you, then that's a bonus, right? That's awesome, right? You won't ever get that frustration, pissed off, stressed out that they try to get you. That they want you in that state of mind. Everything is designed to get you in an elevated stress level. At least it seems like that way to me. It's like everything they do is designed to keep you in a mentality, an elevated level of stress, right? I think that's where your brain state, you go into a certain state of mind, state of thinking when you're elevated levels of stress, and you can't quite think everything through. You can't think clearly. You don't think rationally. You're thinking on your emotions, not your logic, right? That's my experience anyway. So if you just expect bad shit to happen all the time, right? Expect it to happen, right? Then you'll never be disappointed, and you'll probably find that the shit just stops happening. The bad shit just kind of stops happening, because if they try something over and over and over and over again, and they just can't get you in that state of mind, right? No matter how many times they try, they're wasting a lot of resources to try to get you in this state of mind. So when it doesn't work, they switch it up. They try something else. They try different things. I see my gang stalkers trying new tactics all the time. It's like a challenge. I get to rise to the challenge, right? What are my gang stalkers going to try today? What do they come up with next? What else you got for me to fucking chew up and spit out? Because hey, look, there's the game commission, 3 of them in a row. They stalk me too, the game warden. I have a video where they're sitting there right where I'm at for 20 minutes, and then I go to talk to him, right? And he puts me on hold. He just puts his finger up like he's busy or something. And then I stood around for about 10 fucking minutes just waiting, kicking rocks in this parking lot waiting for him. And then finally, whenever I gave up, I was like, all right, fuck it. I'm not going to wait around for him to talk to him. Right when I went to leave, then he rolls down his window. He's like, oh, hey, what did you need? I was like, well, I was just curious what you were up to. What are our taxpayer dollars paying for? What are you doing, Because I was empowered. I realized, I learned my rights recently, and I learned how basically the government's ours. Anybody working for the government is your employee. You are their boss. And that's not exaggerating. Like, that is how it is. So it's important that you go out and learn how these things operate. Learn what you're paying for, right? Because we're paying a lot of fucking money, for these people to boss us around. That's got to change. It's up to us to get involved in your local government at the local level. That's what we need to do. Everybody gets involved at the local level. We can change this whole fucking thing overnight. Like, not overnight literally, but pretty much. I just heard recently of a whole town where the people, they started speaking out, and they rose up against, they had a whole corrupt town council and everything else, and they were greedy, and they were trying to push through this development project where they were taking people's land and basically just trying to steamroll it through without even, you know, fully informing everybody of what's going on, and then just to be greedy, you know what I mean, so they could line their pockets. Well, when somebody shined the light on it, you know, and everybody realized, you know, what's going on, everybody, just the local people, got involved, and they fired their whole fucking town government. They literally had an election, you know what I mean? They had an election or whatever, and they cleaned out and completely replaced their entire town's government overnight, like in one day. And they went in, and then they just took over everything. Because you can do that. It's a fucking for the people, of the people, by the people. This is our government. Let's take it back. All right? Let's take it back. There's people right now, and you could be in a town right now, and the people are running it. But the people have been corrupted in most cases in these small towns and everything, because it's just been that way for so long. People are just conditioned, and they're just so used to just letting somebody else worry about it. Oh, that's somebody else's job. I don't have to worry about that. That's the wrong way to think. We all need to learn how everything operates, because at any given time, what if you got to be the mayor of your town tomorrow? Would you know the first thing about anything about your town, what to do? Would you know anything? Would you know how much anybody's getting paid? Would you know any of that shit? Well, did you know that you can go get that information? They have to give it to you. You just go down to your local municipal building or your borough office, your city building, and they keep all the records right there. They're supposed to keep them right there. It would be the Open Records Officer, okay? The Officer for Open Records, the OOR officer, right? The office, whatever, Officer for Open Records. In Pennsylvania, that's what it is. It's a right to know law, but it's a records officer, whatever. So it's a FOIA request, Freedom of Information Act. Okay, so you do what's called a request, an open records request. You have to know what information you're looking for, and you have to know where to get that information, and then that's it. You don't have to have merit. You can be anybody. You do not have to have any merit. Like my brother said, well, you have to have merit to get an open record. No, you don't. Not at all. You could be the homeless guy on the corner, that washes your windows with a muddy rag. He can walk into that municipal building, and they have to give him all the records that are considered classified as public records. The only things that are an exemption, right? The only things that are exempt or exceptions to the Pennsylvania, anyway. The only thing that's exempt from the right to know law and open records requests is law enforcement. Anything that has to do with like law enforcement, right? Because they can deny that, but you can have a judge. You can, they have to provide a reason, why they deny it. They have to provide a reason and everything else. There's a special set of rules for that. But like 911 calls, okay, you can go request the transcripts or the call, whichever they keep on file, for a 911 call, right? And the only reason that they can keep it from you, they can deny it if they deem it's necessary, or they deem it's it's not in the public's best interest that they release it. So if it's something that's probably like like real gruesome or something like that, you know, I'd imagine that they would, you know, be a little hesitant to release like a call like that or something where maybe something really bad happened during the call or something like that. But a 911 call, right, where I'm assaulted while on the phone with 911, right? I'd imagine I could go do an open records request and request that transcript of that 911 call myself, and I can't see any reason that they could deny it. I can't see any reason whatsoever that they would be allowed to deny it. If they did, then I can challenge it, right? And a judge can then overrule that. A judge can then say, can force them, right? They can force them to release these open records, okay? And that's where they're just used to getting away with whatever they want, because people don't know that. People just don't know that, and they don't do it because they just don't know. You can go and request anybody who works for as a public servant, right, for local government, anybody at all. Their life is not private. They don't have privacy. If they are a public servant, right, and they work for, you know, as whatever position they're in, they work for a government, state, city, state, or county, local, whatever, then they have to, they can't keep their, like, cell phone private. They have to provide everything that's on that cell phone. So anything they do during the workday, you're allowed to get it. So if these people... Why? I'm just right there. You should probably lock it. I would. Here. I'll grab it. It's like, take me 1 second. So you have to do, like, say there's a person, a local official that I believe has some stuff on their cell phone, right, that they shouldn't be doing. Well, if I do a records request, right, and I FOIA that person's cell phone, there we go, their cell phone records, they have to provide it, or else they're breaking the law if they don't provide it. And they're not allowed to delete it either. They break the law if they delete anything on that phone from the time that you request it until, and they can look at the metadata. Is everything out of there? Yeah, I'll leave the coffee cup in there. So they can look at the metadata and see if they did delete anything, and they can get in big trouble, and they actually get criminal offense if they violate any of the. So.
Thank you.
All right. See ya. Okay.
Have fun.
Okay. Tell them I said hi. I'm banned from there. Because I'm just such a menace to society. That's it. That's it. They called me a menace.
Really?
A menace to society. I'm a menace.
Thank you
I said,
for all your help.
Oh, you good? I said, you better watch out, Ed. I'm a
Menace for society.
I'm a narcissistic ninja. I said, you gotta watch out, because you never know when I'm gonna attack again.
Yeah.
He used the words attack. He's like, oh, you attack somebody, like I say something, and he calls it an attack, right? I'm like, you better watch. I said, be careful what you say, Ed. You never know whenever I'm gonna attack again.
Sorry, but you can't put someone in jail and sue them just because they said something you don't like.
Yeah. You can't just call something, an attack because you feel like you were attacked. No, look, you got to look up the definition of words. Words have definitions, and in the eyes of the law, that is all that matters, is the legal definition of the term.
Maybe you're attacking,
simple as that.
Even so, maybe you're attacking him verbally, but still.
Right.
Sorry, but you're not going to get very far with that, Ed.
Well, it's against the law to physically abuse somebody, right? To assault somebody.
Yeah.
But like attack them, right? But if he,
You know what else is
if
illegal,
he says
Aaron?
I attacked his, what, your pride, your,
You know what is illegal though? Online harassment.
yes, that is illegal.
Yeah. And I reported his as harassment, that post.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, that's just to YouTube though. So
Well, I
YouTube.
reported his Facebook post.
Okay, well,
that Facebook
yeah,
post he made, I reported it as harassment.
and that's just a Facebook.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
The problem is Facebook just doesn't fucking care.
No, they didn't take it down.
They don't do
told
anything.
Me, they told me, like, they were like, do you want to be blocked from Ed's post? I already am. They already blocked me.
You know.